Thanks very much, Margaret. I'm joined by Bill Flores. He's Congressman-elect from the state of Texas, the 17th District. He's one of the new members of Congress with significant business experience, 30 years in the oil and gas industry. Thank you very much for the time. And you're going to be in the seat in just about an hour or so's time. Tell me what your top priority is as you arrive here in Washington.
Well, our top goals are, and the filter through which I'm going to look at every piece of legislation. What does it do to increase private sector jobs? What does it do to grow a more robust economy? And what does it do to balance our budget? Everything that I look at will be through that filter. That's my number one goal, is to improve those three areas.
Are you satisfied that the 87 new incoming members are going to have more clout than previous freshman classes? Are you going to have a say in what actually happens here?
I believe we're going to have a say. Absolutely. Just by sheer numbers alone, we're going to have more clout than any other freshman class has had in the last several decades, just from the size.
Let me ask you about some of the tough decisions that are even awaiting you already. A lot of people are focused on the debt ceiling vote. You're going to join the Budget Committee. You know numbers issues, given your experience in the business world. What's your own sense about how this is going to play out? If you have to confront the action of actually having to vote on whether or not to raise the debt ceiling, what are you going to do?
Well, the reason we have to vote on a debt ceiling increase is because we're raising this in revenues, but we're spending at this level. And what we have to do in terms of voting on a debt ceiling increase is to change that, to turn this number down so that the lines cross and expenses are less than revenues. And I will vote for a debt ceiling increase if we can reset the course of the growth of the federal expenditures downward.
You're also joining the Natural Resources Committee, which will have oversight over, for example, the regulation of oil and gas drilling in this country, including offshore. You've had a lot of experience there.
That's correct.
There's been some talk about trying to roll back some of those regulations, particularly with regard to permitting in the Gulf. Tell me what your background in this area, what does that tell you about what needs to happen?
Well, as someone who used to drill in the Gulf of Mexico, and I understand the risk that are inherent with the drilling, but I also understand what the industry's done to be able to mitigate those risks. And notwithstanding what happened with the Macondo well, I believe that offshore drilling is safe. I believe that most of the operators that operate out there do it in a very safe manner, and I believe the permitting process we had before was done, and the regulatory scheme was cost effective, or had a good cost-benefit relationship. But look at what's happening today. We've got $90 oil, and we've got $3 gasoline, and we can point that back to the moratoria that were imposed back in April. And the fact that we're not issuing new permits, the fact that oil production is down in the Gulf of Mexico instead of up, as it was predicted. And that's all because the Obama administration has decided it wants to punish the oil and gas business in this country.
The reality is here that although Republicans control the House, Democrats still control the Senate, they control the White House. There is at least some school of thought here. You all could step in, repeal health care here in the House, cast a whole range of votes that go absolutely nowhere. Is that going to be enough for you?
No, I really do. We've got to fundamentally change what happens here in the federal government. The American people spoke loudly and clearly on November the 2nd that they want to see us change the way we do business here. And I do believe that there are 23 Democrats in the Senate who are going to be at least looking over their shoulder as to what happened in November of last year. And I do believe we'll see some of them begin to change the way that they vote. And you'll see some of them move to the center, and particularly on fiscal issues and issues that have to do with private sector job creation.
Congressman-elect Bill Flores, soon to be Congressman Bill Flores, thank you very much for the time. Welcome to Washington, and we know you have to get your seat. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.